Welcome to the Pitchin and Sippin podcast, where we talk PR trends and tips over sips and meet a wide range of incredible founders, PR pros, and members of the media. I'm Lexie Smith, a former workaholic VP of PR and marketing turned two-time entrepreneur, founder of the PR Bar Inc., business and PR coach, new mama, and self-proclaimed connoisseur of puns, pizza, and wine. I'm a huge believer that knowledge is power and kindness never goes out of style. Think of this show as a way to uplevel your business and career over happy hour. Now let's get to pitchin' and sippin'. Vanessa Gordon is the CEO and publisher of East End Taste and the founder of the Hamptons Interactive Brunch event series. As a freelance journalist, she has contributed to such publications as Pregnancy and Newborn, Parents Magazine, Thrillist. She has been featured as a travel and parenting expert in Reader's Digest, MSN, Condé Nast Traveler, CNN_, Yahoo, and most recently on BBC London Radio. She received her Master of Arts degree in teaching English as a second language from New York University. She lives with her family in the Hamptons. And fun fact, Vanessa, Hamptons are on my bucket list. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I hope to see you here soon.
Are you joining us today, podcasting in from the Hamptons as you speak?
Yes. So I'm going back and forth between New York City and the Hamptons today. I am in my home in East Hampton.
Technically speaking, now, of course, everyone on the East Coast already knows this, but for my Oregonian turned California, how far apart is New York and the Hamptons?
Sure. So it's 90 miles from East Hampton to New York City. But in the summer, in terms of the travel, it could be rough. It could take hours to get there.
Okay, that's actually closer though than I didn't know if it was like over 3-4 hour away. 300 miles, 90, assuming there's no traffic, isn't
Right.
terrible. So outside of work, what do you like to do for fun?
Oh gosh, well now I'm really excited. I'm getting my paddle board out, so I'm going to be going paddleboard and hike. I love hiking. I love long walks. The longer, the better. I love exploring my region, and especially going out to Montauk and doing long walks out there. Then I just finished up doing seal walks. Those usually go until about early March, and you'll see the seals kind of hanging out on the sand there. It's cute.
Oh, how cool is that? A seal walk. I don't think I've ever heard. I mean, I understand the concept when you say that, but I've never heard it as like a thing before.
That's not neat. Neither have I, until it was brought to my attention maybe about 7 or 8 years ago when I was working. I was teaching fitness classes at one of the local resorts out here. It's going back a long time ago. And like, oh, you want to go on a seal hike? And I go, wait, seals really like legit, like hang out on the beach here? Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
so cool. And so are you a parent as well, having been a parenting expert?
Yes. I have two young children. My daughter is 9 and my son is 5. They are very different. If you could imagine, but they're so wonderful, and I've learned so much from them, and they're great. They're a lot of fun. They keep me busy.
I'm sure. I only have one of them, and she's 1, and I'm incredibly busy. So anyone who really any parent on this planet, I have a whole new perspective for in this past year. That's for sure. So outside of the Hamptons and fun, I want to talk a little bit more about your career journey. So let's rewind and I like to say, give me the Cliff Notes version of what came before today.
Definitely. So interestingly, I started my career very early, perhaps in creative writing. But then I said, I come from a background with there's a lot of teachers and people in the education field in my family. So I was highly encouraged to go and get my master's degree in English as a second language, which I did literally right out of college, went right into my master's program. And then I flew to London for my study abroad program for 3 months. And I was teaching and learning over at the Institute of Education in London, teaching over in the Camden neighborhood there. And I was at St. Edmund's College at Oxford for about a month or so. And then I came back and I had all this teaching style that I learned overseas, and I brought it back here and teaching for a little bit, tutoring. But then I became pregnant with my daughter in, oh my gosh, was it May of 2013? And I suffered with a condition called hyperemesis, which is basically very severe morning sickness. and I had to quit teaching very suddenly. I was teaching at a private school at the time, and they were very confused. They were very puzzled about why I had to quit, and I couldn't really tell them why. But I never really went back to teaching full time once she was born. I was just doing private tutoring, but I really wanted something that would occupy my mind. I got very, I would say frustrated, if you will, but very, I hate to say it, bored. Like I was home. I really wanted that purpose. I'm very career driven. And I started East End Taste, which is my digital publication, in the beginning completely for fun, just to occupy my mind, just to keep myself writing. I said, oh, let me start writing about, like, I guess what I do, and for fun with my family, going out to the restaurants, events, or fun little guides, just to keep people perhaps in the know. Because a lot of my family and friends had moved away from the area and they've moved elsewhere, but they always like to kind of keep in check with what's going on in the Hamptons. So I thought it was kind of fun. But then what was happening is I started, then I took it a little step further, took it seriously, started freelance writing for some of the local publications out here and in the city. So I had to go on assignment. I had to go to different functions, interview, talent, et cetera, out here. But then just get into casual conversation. What do you do? I said, oh, I started a blog called East End Taste, and I would kind of shrug it off like, anyway, on to our conversation. And then they go, no, I'd like to hear more about it. And I go, okay. So I would tell them about it. Then I started making up little business cards that said East End Taste on them, and I would give them out to people. But then businesses would inquire. They said, well, I really love what you're doing, restaurants, etc., and it would ask me to come back. And I would say, oh, for my blog? Oh, okay. And this was very early. This is, I want to say, like 20, yes, it's like early to like 26. We're going to 2016 now. And I never saw it as anything to make money from, or any sort of substance, if you will. I didn't understand that whole concept. And it wasn't until I spoke with someone that had been doing marketing for 10, 15 years at the time. They're like, I'm going to give you the best advice. Don't call it a blog. Get the word blog out of the picture. I was, really? I said, well, okay. So I do know a lot of successful blogs. It was interesting, I guess, in the take. It acted more as a publication because of I was bringing writers on. I had my first intern in that fall of 2016. It was a family friend, was looking for just experience, and they had such a great time, working under me, and it continued to grow and grow and grow from there. And yeah, I mean, I did the Hamptons Interactive Brunch in 2018, and the business skyrocketed from there, from the success of that event. And this is coming from someone who had literally no clue per se. Much of my growth was completely organic, just putting myself out there. And you're talking to someone who was, rewind the clock back 10 years ago, I don't say shy, but very apprehensive. I never wanted to put myself in front of a camera. And I was a writer. I was like, nope, I work on the back end. This is not what I do. And I really leapt out of my comfort zone, if you will, and put myself out there, really put myself in very intimidating situations. But it's been quite fascinating how I've broken into it, so to say, and very, very, like I said, very organically, really beat it, just genuine meeting people and, growing along with people I've been getting to know for a number of years now.
So what does East End Taste and your career look like today?
Wow. Well, it's not what I would have ever have expected. Wow. It's very demanding. It's very, very demanding. But the nice thing is though I have learned, and it took me a while to learn this, but perhaps prioritizing, if you will. So in the beginning, I was doing soup to nuts, everything with the business. But now I have a number of writers. We have a number of writers who work for East End Taste. As far as the event goes, I mean, I have an event production team. We have content creators that we hire. We have a whole staff, volunteers. So there's a lot of people, boots on the ground, people that live out here. There's a lot of involvement with it. So it really takes a village to run that event in of itself. And it gives me, what's kind of cool is it gives me the opportunity, because now East End Taste is perhaps its own wheelhouse. It runs itself now. And I have an assistant, and I have, interns that come through summer, spring, and fall. And my goodness, I have my interim editorial assistant right now. I have as people that do SEO, web development, you name. I've people that come in and out to help with graphic design work, et cetera, et cetera. And it's great. Yes, there's people that run it behind the scenes, and I'm at the helm of both East End Taste and the Hamptons Interactive Brunch. But the brunch does take priority because that is what it is at the forefront. That's what people go there and they're experiencing that, versus East End Taste has a strong international readership. And a lot of, and also we're SEO driven in terms of what we produce. So right now we have an article right now on food in the Dominican Republic that's just doing very, very well. So we're perhaps optimizing other articles similar to that one, so that will then take priority. So it's very interesting how it shifts, but because the event is coming up in 3 months, priority shifts there, and then the fall winter is more optimization of the website, etc.
Okay, so then what is the Hamptons Interactive Brunch event series?
So it started really with just an idea of perhaps creating a networking event for women-owned businesses on Long Island, and just getting kind of people together for a fun afternoon, because there was at the time a void of Saturday afternoon events. We had an event out here called Super Saturday that was very, very successful for a number of years, but that unfortunately has since dissipated. And in 2017, 2017 was the last event. And I had this idea of bringing, we need a Saturday afternoon event. We need to do something. And I approached the idea to my event planner, Sean and Brian of Ticket to Events, who I've known for a number of years. I attended some of their events that they do for Bravo TV and a number of other networks and such out here in Palm Beach. And I said, if I'm going to work with anyone, it's going to be them. And I brought the idea to them, and they said, no, I think we do a lot better than a 40-person sit down luncheon. Why don't we expand it? And then they brought ideas to the table. I said, let's see what we could do. It started off as fully invitation only, but because there's such an interest in people from all walks of life attending it, we are selling more tickets this year, and we have different sponsors that come on board, food, beverage, beauty, fashion. So there's a gifting suite. We're known for our quite loaded gift bags. I think someone actually tallied it up last year. The retail value of the items in the gift bag exceeded $2,800. I believe the number was. Wow. Yeah. And I get really excited.
So when will I be there?
It's good fun. And we always have a rotating beneficiary. So the ones that we've used past, we had the Retreat, Bidewee, and the Children's Museum of the East End, so local Long Island beneficiaries. And then this year we're choosing yet to be announced a beneficiary for animals based in New York City. So I'm really excited about this partnership. So it's really all about giving back while at the same time just bringing people together for fun afternoon.
And at this point, is it open to the public, or is it still invite only?
It is open so we are selling tickets this year.
Amazing.
Yeah, we did, but we were sold out before we could even. We were able to open up a small window of tickets at the door, but they were gone. They were gone that morning.
Well, congratulations, first off, to all of the things from East End Taste to this series. You've done so much with your career. It's truly, truly inspiring. And it inspired what I really want to dive into a bit more today. When we talk about curating a branded event and bringing on brands and pitching sponsors. So we're going to dive into curating your branded event, bringing on brands and pitching sponsors. My first question is, if you're a business owner listening to this, or a publicist or a journalist, what type of business or person would creating a branded event be worth considering? Who is it good for? What type of event does this serve?
Sure. So as far as a brand, well, what's interesting is it puts your first and foremost out there, and it could put it out there on a number of different levels. So for instance, if perhaps if you're a brand and you have say you have $30,000 budget, for instance, and you say, well, what am I going to do that's going to build the most amount of traction? You have to look at not just like, well, do I want to, utilize maybe content creators or influencers or social media ad dollars? You don't never, first off, put all your eggs in one basket, of course, but think about how you want your brand to be seen, not only by the masses, but also you want to focus most importantly on your very specific target audience. Think about in your mind, who is your ideal, client or customer. But then think about also who is that individual that's going to then talk about it to more people. Who's the one that's going to plant the seed? And what I'm always very careful about is it's not a matter of like, oh, this is not a see and be seen event. If this is why you want to come to this event or be invited, no, this is not your event. This is an event where these people that are invited to this event and that attend this event, you want this product in their hands. Not only do you want this product in their hands, you want them talking about it, but talking about it organically. So something that's very interesting that we do, we have, influencers and talent, if you will, at the event. We don't do a contract system where like you must post X amount of stories or we don't do that. If we have content creators that come in, but they come in specifically for the event itself, for future, for content, for promoting the event specifically. So think about little details there. And also I highly, I can't stress this enough, recommend if you're going to invest in anything, invest in a good solid publicity team that knows that has a good, you don't want content like a laundry list of content, relationships, and you want those relationships seen. So check out like their social media channels, see who they're following, who's following them, and see what relationships they already have. That is what's key. That's what's going to get you out there.
Did you know that I send out a community newsletter roundup every Tuesday, chock full of resources, free media kit downloads, event invites, journalist contacts, visibility opportunities. Basically, if you're not on the list, hit pause and sign up. It's super simple. Go to theprbarinc.com/newsworthy. That link is in the show notes. Okay, back to the show.
Ultimate goal is not only the online tracks or how many impressions. That's all well and good, but is that bringing sales and results? That's a whole other story. We have to see
right.
that what takes time. What I love is talking to, say, a brand when we pitch a brand. So say we're pitching one right now that's based in Austin, Texas, for instance. It's like, well, why there? But what's kind of cool is it was through a referral. But what's even cool is they didn't even need the referral. They already knew about the event just through an organic. Like, oh yeah, we saw that. Because the co-host Leanne, friend of mine, Leanne Locken, was the co-host, and because she's based in Texas, that's how they had heard about it. They had seen.
So you're zoning in on the main thing I want to ask on this topic. Pitching sponsors and paid sponsors. I'd love to know high level, just maybe a couple of your best tips or insights regarding to how to go about procuring paid sponsors for an event.
Yes, it is. I will say right away, it is no easy task. This can take weeks, months, long time, and many, many Zoom calls, many phone calls. We had with with one of them, our record, I think, was 45 calls until.
Whoa.
And that's what it could take. And I'm saying, hey, if you're right, but the money's good. It helps. And I'm also very transparent. I say, when sponsors come, can we do a trade or product donation? No. And it's not a matter of, we would truly love to work in that capacity, but that's not feasible. It's just not feasible. How much is a photographer? I mean, first, the Hamptons, it's not cheap. Photographer costs money. Designers cost money. The planners cost money. Everything costs money. There's not only a dollar amount. Nobody's cutting corners out here because the demand is so high to put an event on. And you also need the capital raised. So for instance, we need to raise a certain amount of money from the previous year in order to even put on this year's. We don't even make money. How do we put on the event?
So leading with the transparency of, first and foremost, this is not a trade. This is a paid sponsorship. So opening that conversation out the door with that. Yeah.
Right away. I immediately, and I'm also a very big proponent of not wasting people's time. When I cold pitch all the time, and I pitch people that I have relationships with. I say right away, no, it's okay. I say it's totally fine. If you don't have the fun, just let me know right away though. But I'm not going to bend for a trade. It's just it's just not feasible, especially not only with the amount of money and time that the event
Yeah,
entails.
no, I'm 100% on board. So in that cold pitch, what are the key like 3 to 5 things that you're including that make it become appealing for the sponsor?
Absolutely. So you want to create a visual. You want, most importantly, is to make sure that they see right away what they're potentially becoming involved with. You want images of individuals or get looking at the brand, interacting with the brands at the event.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the interactive experiences, people like the customization opportunities, creating, one of a kind, moments, and and just the content. Also, I always love to show too. We show a slide in the deck of different individuals that have shared on their own, and also it's kind of cool as we share too, even years later, people with very very high, very very influential individuals in their own right, sharing content, like throwback to 2019 Hamptons Interactive Brunch when I discovered this ice cream brand, for instance,
Right.
or have you, and how really really cool it is, and how that traction is. And also we show the Instagram page how we continue running the account, all throughout the year, and how there's just, in addition to that, I always say it's really what you want out of it. How do you want to work with us? I always like to use the phrase, if you were to push a magic button, what would you like to attain from being a part of this? We're offering this opportunity to you. So
Yeah, I imagine. So here are the bullet points I just put down. See if I'm following. Start first up transparently that this is a paid opportunity. To provide imagery, paint the opportunity for them to see their brand or their content in action. Highlight the audience and the opportunity that they have to being at this event, and then ask them that question of what would this, I think you said press the magic button, a successful partnership look like for you. Is that a good kind of like skeleton for people to follow?
absolutely. And two, I never ever oversell. Never. I always undersell it. I want the brand to walk away and go, wow, wow. So I love surprising them with extra, additional press. So that have covered, even guests that I didn't realize we're going to be there. Like we'll
Yeah.
have like, I heard that, but I'll never be like, oh yeah, so and so is going to be there. And sometimes I'm really just a surprise because I'll hear the name in passing, and I'll go, oh cool, and then I'll go, oh, they're there, and
Yeah,
we
giving the element of surprise to really kind of wow their experience. And you kind of underlined a word I want to close us out on before the end of the show, and that's press. And that's the fact that you are also a member of the press. You're a mom, you're a business owner, you're a publisher, you're a writer, you're a superwoman, you do all the things. You're also a freelance journalist. A few questions I have for you on this vein. First and foremost, what type of content are you looking for in the upcoming quarters? And are you open to being pitched?
yes. So what's funny is I'm one of those individuals that always loves to emphasize this. You have to put yourself out there in order, it's one of those, I always say to people, out of sight, out of mind. So for instance, I attend events to meet people and to reconnect. And I will say this, the one thing that I wish that I physically could do is answer every single pitch sent my way. I'm just putting this out there to everyone. It's just not physically possible when you receive hundreds a day. I truly, truly wish I could. But the one thing that I do want to mention is, yeah, there is a chance that I may not have seen it. I'm quite stunned with sometimes what goes to spam. So feel free to resend.
Yeah.
Also, don't, I may be going against the masses here, but don't be afraid to even DM me on Instagram. Don't be afraid to just like, maybe throw me a follow, interact with my content a little bit. Not saying like I want, but just to get my attention. If you want, just a gentle, like a little nudge here
Yeah.
and there. I don't mind. I love, I love it. I love, like, hey, just seeing like, hey, just what's going on? How are you doing? Uh, I love that. And don't be afraid to follow up. And if it's not there, it doesn't mean that it's, and also when we're sent, product for testing or editorial consideration, just because it didn't make an article or, it doesn't mean it's never going to. There's always an opportunity. So a good example was we were, oh my goodness, inundated with the Valentine's Day gift. Oh my gosh, can't tell you. But we're now for National Wine Day, we're doing a story. The demand. So now all those, the one that we love, that we tried, that's going to probably go into that story. So you never know. And then there was something else like that was brought to our attention about olive oil. There was another type of cooking technique. So you never know where where anything's going to go. So also too, and I pitch myself too as an expert, regional expert, and as a parenting expert. And I'm pitching myself right now for hyperemesis gravidarum awareness, which is May 15th. And it's like I said, a lot easier said than done. But what I'm doing is like, even last minute, like, hey, like throwing out a Twitter, like, hey, if you're working on this, I follow the Twitter hashtags, journal request I'm following all the time. I'll search on LinkedIn. I'll see what people are working on. And you never know too. Feel free to just reach out, not even just to me, but just in general. Hey, I saw that you covered X, Y, Z. More than likely, they're not going to edit. They can't edit the story.
Right. Where there a specific topic right now that East End Taste or you as a freelancer are looking for? Is there a certain type of product or a certain type of story that you're interested in right now?
Yes, there's a lot coming my way with regards to Hampton's new, I always say, please, new businesses, new activations, new pop-up, you name it, please send it my way. I freelance for a number of the publications out here, and a lot of times I'm pulled last minute for, I'm interviewed a lot for UK publications in Ireland, whether it's me, or if I'm writing a story for East End Taste, or if it's for one of the other local publications out here, et cetera, et cetera. You never know. Even if it has nothing to like with food or whatever have you, even if it's interior design, I've written for Hamptons Cottages and Gardens, and I also know a lot of people too. So I know some colleagues of mine, like I had a journalist from the UK and one from France who's actually visiting the Hamptons for the first time. They would really love some connections. You never know. So
you never know.
My way, everything.
Yeah, and another way to this is me trying to make a really clever transition that is about to fall so flat, but you know what else connects people? Drinking. And you know what else is talking about drinking? The show. So we've talked pitching. What can we find you sipping? What is your favorite beverage? It's how I always wrap up the show. And sometimes it like comes out smoothly. Sometimes it was as rough as that landing just was. So anyways, to wrap us up today, what is your favorite beverage? Alcoholic or non-alcoholic, of course.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been drinking. So I just came back from Italy, and I've been tasting a lot of different coffees. And I just had a really, really nice cappuccino from Tutto Cafe here in East Hampton. And I always love a really, really good coffee drink. It was always looking for like iced cappuccinos, iced lattes. And I went to a place in the city called Gregory's Coffee. I had a business meeting there, and they had a really nice like salted caramel like cold brew. It was really good, really good. I'm gonna go back for another one.
I'm like hitting that afternoon wall where you are making me salivate. Now I'm gonna, after this interview, go up and go make myself coffee, which is gonna be so far less adequate than what you're talking about. Sounds so good. Where can people go to connect with you and to learn more about the brunch series and East End Taste?
Definitely, yeah. So definitely filter through my personal Instagram account at Vanessa P. Gordon, and the Hamptons Interactive Brunch is at Hamptons Interactive Brunch, and East End Taste is East End Taste, and East End Taste is on all major social media platforms.
Amazing. Well, Vanessa, thank you so much for taking time from all your many projects to join us today on the Pitchin and Sippin podcast. Hey guys, if you are enjoying the Pitchin and Sippin podcast, please do me a huge favor and leave a review wherever you are listening. If you want to connect with me to learn more about the PR Bar Inc., you can do so on Instagram at @thePRBar_Inc., or you can check out my website at theprbarinc.com. Cheers!